The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The KiwiSaver Budget Measures Bill is set down for third reading forthwith.
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Revenue, I move that the KiwiSaver Budget Members Bill be now read a third time. Mr Speaker, as KiwiSaver approaches its 8th birthday, it is now time to let the scheme be more about people saving for their own retirement and less about government top-ups. Mr Speaker, this bill therefore proposes to remove the incentive payment of $1,000 paid by the government to all new enrollees in the scheme, and thereby improve the value for money of the scheme. In short, Mr Speaker, we want the government's support to be for not opening an account, but rather actually for people saving. Mr Speaker, this change takes effect at 2 p.m. on the date the budget was read on the 21st of May. People enrolled in the scheme before this will, as a matter of fairness, receive their $1,000 kickstart contribution. There's always that 3-month wait period that will still apply. Now, there's been some pretty ridiculous comments from members opposite that somehow this bill should not have been put through with a budget measure. That's about as sensible as saying that tax changes or increases in alcohol taxes or other such measures should take effect. We all know what that would do. That would result in a sudden rush of people simply taking opportunity of having the forward knowledge. The contribution from Mr Clark actually just shows how, Dr Clark, just shows how inadequate he is to government, that if you give people forward notice of rules changing, then people will simply take short-term advantage, and that's not in anybody's advantage. And I sat in this Parliament through 9 budgets under Labor where such changes were made and put through as a budget measure. Mr Speaker, this bill does not affect other aspects of the scheme, and KiwiSaver members will continue to receive employer contributions and the government-provided member tax credits of $521 million per year. That is, the government is going to continue to subsidise KiwiSaver schemes to the order of $640 million each year. As always, I am grateful for the efforts of those who have contributed towards the passage of this bill. I want to thank the work of officials on the policy development and the drafters. This is a bill that's about making choices in a budget. There is a certain irony that members opposite always want to vote for measures like a hardship bit for children, but they're not prepared to vote for the other changes that make those measures financially sustainable, and that's why it's an important part of the budget. Mr Speaker, the last point I wish to make in this debate is the most telling part of the debate in the last 48 hours are these very powerful 8 words that will ripple shock through my electorate of Nelson amongst the 700,000 receivers of national superannuation, and I want to conclude with these words. The words of Andrew Little yesterday: I cannot commit to keeping New Zealand superannuation universal. Those simple 8 words speak volumes of what the members opposite want to do to the security of the retirement arrangements for hundreds of thousands of New Zealanders. I have to say to Mr Robertson, those 8 words from Mr Little will guarantee me increased support in my Nelson electorate at the next election. I already have received emails from grey power members terrified by what those 8 words mean, and I just simply say to members opposite, when they are dealing with the issue of superannuation, to state very clearly, do they agree with Mr Little, his statement yesterday, quote unquote, I cannot commit to keeping New Zealand superannuation universal? That is an answer I'm looking forward to hearing from in this third reading debate.
I call